How you guys doing today? It's Anthony Ganji. Welcome to another episode of Tier Talk. Guys, as I cover the Celeste Rivas Hernandez case, I always try to keep myself open. In the end, this really is about her, Celeste Rivas Hernandez. Now, I watched this gentleman on YouTube. I like his material. He's very factual. And when he makes, I don't want to say assumptions, but sort of when he makes assumptions, they are truly done through deductive reasoning. And he opened up my eyes on this video. And again, I'd rather us wait, because when you start making assumptions or allegations and you're wrong, it's very hard for the people who have been on the other side of that assumption or allegation to recover from that, both personally and also how they're seen. But with that said, if this were to be true and everything he says here, I'm going to break down what the family and d4vd could be looking at. And it breaks my heart because, as I said, I don't think, or I would not like to think that this is true. But the way he puts it out there, it's hard to defend against. The only thing I can say is nothing has really been confirmed or verified from law enforcement or from the family, including, I did a video on this, the timeline from April of 2024 to when she was discovered on September 8th of 2025. I know everybody says that the family said they didn't see her, but that hasn't been confirmed that the family ever said that, or that law enforcement even confirmed that. But that's my only argument here. This kid put together such a video that I wanted to share it with you. And then if this be the case, and there is some involvement with the family in regards to maybe being paid off, which I hope is not the case. But if it is the case, I just wanted to show you what both parties would, the consequences both parties would face. Because even if the family is allowed this, because this is why I'm really doing the video, d4vd, if this is the case, he's still got responsibilities here and even more serious consequences. So it doesn't free him if he is paying the family and the family now gives the okay. So I want to make sure people understand that even if the family was good with it, on the legal side, there's still consequences here, regardless of the family saying yes or no. And for the family, I hope this is not the case. Hopefully, this is not the way it turns out to be. But I want you to watch this video. And then if, when you watch the video, this kid's good. That's all I'm saying. This kid's good. And if you take a listen to how he presents his facts, I will then go ahead and show you if that's the case and what he says tends to be accurate. I'll give you what I feel will be the consequences on the back end of that narrative that he's bringing up. But let me let this go straight through. It's 5 minutes. And guys, I said my only argument on this would be that the family there's no verification, or hasn't been confirmed that the family had said they did not speak to Celeste from that time frame of April of 2024 to September of 2025. I haven't seen that anywhere. So I know they're going to have pictures of her with the family, and sometimes they may run on the conspiracy behind that. And my argument on that was there's nothing confirmed outside of the media's timeline that there was ever no level of communication. But I think the other stuff he mentions actually supersedes that argument anyway. But again, that timeline still has not been confirmed from family, at least that I haven't seen. All right, let's play this.
Alright guys, so in my last video, I discussed how Celeste Rivas Hernandez's last proof of life at this specific moment is from January 2nd, 2025. Prior to this date, there were photos taken of Celeste, videos taken of Celeste, fairly regularly. So why did that abruptly stop on January 2nd, 2025, based on what we know, again, at this specific moment? Now let's do a recap of the timeline of events because I feel like a lot of people are getting the dates and stuff mixed up here. So February 14th, 2024, Celeste is reported missing for the first time. This also just so happens to be Valentine's Day and the day that Josh Marshall, David's manager, rented that Hollywood Hills home for him to occupy. March 19th, 2024, Celeste is reported missing for a second time, and then she's reported missing for a third and final time by family on April 5th, 2024. On April 21st, 2024, while Celeste is again still considered a missing juvenile, she is apparently seen somewhere with David and her cousin Esmeralda. This is implied by the PI who is now working for the homeowner of that Hollywood Hills home that David was staying at. It's unclear what event this was that all three of them were apparently at together or at least at the same time because Esmeralda cleared her social media pages. But after doing some digging, I was able to find one social media account of hers that she has not wiped clean, and there is a photo of her around this time period at a California theme park. And it just so happens to be David posted to his TikTok a video of him riding a roller coaster at a theme park. Could be a coincidence, could not be. I'm not sure. Just wanted to share that with you guys. Now back to our timeline. On May 30th, 2024, again, while Celeste is still considered a missing juvenile, she attends her cousin Esmeralda's high school graduation. I don't know, it seems like Celeste and Esmeralda were pretty close to one another, and Esmeralda was also the one who created the GoFundMe page for Celeste's funeral expenses. On June 2nd, 2024, Celeste is seen on video arriving to a family event. She hugs who I believe is her uncle and her aunt when she gets to this party. And then in September of 2024, we see that video footage of Celeste arguing with her dad's neighbors outside. So like we've been saying, the family of Celeste knew that she wasn't technically missing because she was coming around family still. She was still apparently talking to family. Her brother knew who she was around. Her cousin, Esmeralda, seems to have known who she was around, yet nobody ever contacted authorities to let them know that Celeste wasn't a missing juvenile anymore. And I think that that is because they didn't want an investigation to open up as to why Celeste was not attending school like a normal child her age. And I
want to add something here, and this is what got me thinking. At the very beginning of Celeste running away, parents don't have context. They don't know what's going on, the mom, whatever it is. So they do call each and every time. That makes a lot of sense to me. It does. You know, she's running away, call the police, call the police. So it shows concerned parents, concerned mom, whatever the case may be. But there's a point, I think Celeste wanted to go to a concert. She wasn't allowed to go. I think there's a message from d4vd or something. He'll take care of it or something like that. And I don't know what happened after that. But if by chance she was gone for this period of time and the rest of this kid's narrative holds true, there's a change in behavior here. There's a change of the reporting, closing off to leaving it open. And to me, that change of behavior has to mean something. So if it's true that they didn't report her when she came back, it could be exactly like what he said. They could be doing it because they didn't want anybody looking into the fact that if she was back, why didn't she go into school? Because there'd be more attention on her. And that is very good deductive reasoning. You have a change of behavior from calling. And now you can clearly see that she is connected with the family at that time frame. But I don't know if they reported her back. And I think that's going to be interesting. I think that's something that we need. I think that's something we need to know. I need to know because we're trying to do this for the family. But imagine if they were really behind the scenes on this the whole time. So I'm hoping that this isn't true. But I don't want to get so stuck in what I personally believe that I don't open my eyes up to this, what this gentleman is saying right here, because there's a change in behavior. And what he said clearly makes sense. If they were being taken care of and she comes back, if I report her back, it's going to open up a lot of eyes. So could they have been bribed? Now, the only thing I could say is I wanted to have a weak argument is that they could have been coerced or threatened. But that would be harder to see for me. So I'm kind of going along with this gentleman's narrative, keeping the hopes that this isn't the case, but also keeping my mind open that maybe this could be. And as I said, if this turns out to be true, this narrative, it doesn't alleviate d4vd from his consequences, but it just adds the family into their own set of consequences. So again, it's not what I like about this kid. It's still objective, doesn't absolve d4vd because he's still going to have some consequences here, but it just includes the family. Okay, let's continue it.
Personally think that at this point, after Celeste had ran away 3 times, the family probably just thought it was easier to let her be wherever she was at instead of forcing her to come back home and dealing with her running away over and over and over again.
Well
and
said.
I think that at this point, it's safe to assume that Celeste's family knew who she was with and where she was with. The mom said that she knew Celeste was dating someone by the name of David. The brother is saying that he knew she was dating David, the singer, the adult, and I don't think that they actually cared. Now, this PI has recently stated that he spoke to a few people that are in the community that Celeste's family lives in Lake Elsinore, and he was told by them that at the point that Celeste was reported missing for the 3rd time, the family members, certain ones, started instructing neighbors not to search for Celeste because she was, quote, staying with a family member near LA. Now, we still don't know who Celeste was staying with when she was not with David. In one of the recent PI's interviews, he stated that he believes that Celeste was staying at an apartment with someone else. So could her family have been telling the truth? Maybe Celeste was actually staying in the LA area with a family member, maybe her cousin. I will say that it's interesting looking at Esmeralda, the cousin's information, because it seems like she moved across the country to attend college for the 2024-2025 school year. So if Celeste was maybe staying with Esmeralda somewhere in LA and Esmeralda ends up going to school across the country, comes back around the holidays in 2024, but then goes back to school in January of 2025, that is around the same time period that Celeste was last seen. I'm not saying that Esmeralda had any knowledge or anything to do with Celeste's death, but I'm just saying that this would have given whoever was around Celeste at this time opportunity to be around her alone, and it also would indicate why maybe the person that is typically around her living with her did not know that she may have been dead for so long because they were not physically in the residence with her at that time. I don't know, I'm thinking out loud, piecing things together as I go. What do you guys think of all of this? This is all very suspicious, and regardless of whatever happened, many people failed Celeste by choosing to not check in on her, by choosing to not get her the help that she probably needed, and by choosing to not support her in healthy ways instead of just allowing her to run rampant and do whatever she wanted with whoever she wanted.
I like how he said that, how they didn't support her in healthy ways. So I thought that was a powerful video. It really opens up your eyes to some different possibilities. But I know that people tend to try to skew or bias those. So if that was the case, and let's say there was a chance that the family could have been paid off, if that is the case, and we don't know that, But if that was the case, these are some of the things that the family would be facing, as well as d4vd. So the first thing we got is child endangerment and neglect. So if they knowingly allowed Celeste to remain with an adult in dangerous circumstances, they could face felony or misdemeanor child neglect charges. I've seen fines for that, some jail or prison time, depending what happened to the child, and this could be part of it, and the loss of parental rights. You got the obstruction of justice. So if they accepted money or stayed silent to avoid reporting her disappearance, prosecutors could argue obstruction. This covers failure to notify police or actively misleading authorities, which would be in both cases here if she came back and they didn't notify the police and they still played on the fact that she was still missing. And now you got the videos coming up. That would be both. Accessory after the fact. So if they knew about Celeste being with d4vd and helped cover it up, even passively accepting money, discouraging searches, which we saw here with telling the neighbors, they could be treated as accessories. Penalties, it depends on the severity of the underlying crime. In this case, it's a death, but we don't know how, the manner. Then you got the conspiracy. If there was any agreement, explicit or implied, to keep Celeste hidden in exchange for financial or other benefit, conspiracy charges could apply. So even if the plan wasn't carried out to completion, conspiracy alone is chargeable, as long as you can prove that it happened, that plans were being made. And then you got the financial crime. If payments were proven, prosecutors could look at money laundering or illegal compensation for silence, though this would likely be added on top of child endangerment charges. Now for D4VD, if money, transport, or exploitation is proven, so money, exchange of money, transport, or exploitation is proven, you got, so here it says homicide-related exposure. So I want to explain that. So Celeste's body being found in his Tesla already ties him. Some people think it's either going to be a murder, which I don't know if that's the case, manslaughter, or negligent homicide cases. And that's depending on the evidence. So even if he didn't directly kill her, he could face charges tied to reckless endangerment leading to death. Then you got the exploitation of a minor. If money was exchanged or if he harbored her while underage, that can fall under corruption of minors or endangering welfare of a child. And then stronger still, if prosecutors argue she was exploited, it could escalate to human trafficking statutes. Then you got the federal, the Mann Act. If she was transported across state lines for any unlawful purposes, this federal law comes into play. Long sentences often stacked with state charges. Then you have the obstruction or witness tampering. So if he gave money to silence the family, that could be charged separately. This doesn't require a violent act, just an improper benefit. And that's intended to prevent reporting. And then the false imprisonment or kidnapping. Even if she initially went willingly, if he prevented her return or influenced family silence, this could escalate to kidnapping statutes. Kidnapping with a resulting death is one of the most severe charges available. And then the shared legal exposure would be if prosecutors could prove collusion, then you got conspiracy to endanger a child. So that's both side faces charges as co-conspirators. Failure to protect the minor, family for not intervening, and D4VD for creating the risk. And obstruction of investigation. If money changed hands, both could be liable. So the key takeaways for the family, this is the truth: endangerment, neglect, obstruction, accessory charges are most realistic. For David, you got homicide, exploitation, trafficking, and federal transport charges are on the table. And if prosecutors prove money exchanged hands to suppress action, both sides face conspiracy and obstruction charges on top of everything else. So that's my take. That video is going around. I wanted to give my perspective. I really wanted to go in on this, just arguing everything that was said. And I started recording it, and then I stopped. I went upstairs, and I said, no, let me just do this perspective, because it was just a well-done video to me. So I went down and did some research and then posted up this version, which I feel is fair, because I'm not saying they did it, but if they did, this is what they could be looking at. But the main reason for me doing this is it doesn't absolve David. He's still just as much a part of it as he would be if they weren't involved. So, this case is confusing. Either way, justice for Celeste. It's going to happen. It's going to happen. I feel it. I think something is going to come our way soon that's going to open our eyes and take us into directions we haven't even thought of. I just hope the wait is worth it. I just hope the wait is worth it. Hey, guys, don't forget, I have a Buy Me a Coffee. If you check out my description, I have a link. If you guys like the content, please buy me a coffee. Hey, guys, I'm looking for more cases. So if you want, email me at GANGI Anthony. So my last name and then my first name, ganjianthony@yahoo.com. Suggest me a few. And if I can give an angle, I will. Hopefully, maybe even have some guests to discuss it. Try to create an angle that matters, an impact, as opposed to just reporting the facts. I like to try to see where we could pick up some pieces and try to create a difference. As always, guys, stay safe.